definition of the word love. Brother Love, don't go nowhere, man. I got a whole different definition. Number one, I love being a Hulkster, man, and I love all my little Hulkamaniacs. Right now, I love the fact that I'm going to get my hands on you. Oh, there he goes. Ooh, yeah.
Holla, 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 holla. It's your boy from Valhalla. I hope you're having a good one. Thanks for joining. We are going to jump right into this Saturday night's main event. And you know what? I am super duper excited for this one. We're going through a transition, my people. It's a big one. A lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts. A lot of stuff is going on here. Thanks for stopping by. I love y'all, and I hope the feeling is mutual. So, just to start it all off, pre-show match, title on the line. Bull Nakano gets her 10th title defense out of the way here on Saturday night's main event. This was not a match that I anticipated to, steal the show. I wanted to just continue Bull's reign. I had been kind of lax as far as developing the story. Something moving forward that I definitely want to build to, perhaps at WrestleMania 5. There are at least 2 challengers that I want to build up, and we're gonna have to kind of see moving forward how they develop. But I'm gonna try to push them both individually to potentially do a 1v1 or maybe even a triple threat at WrestleMania. But Bull has just been very dominant. I feel it's the best way to at least elevate the title is to have a dominant champion. I don't know. It's difficult because when I started this, there was a women's title, but the division was really weak, so much so that I didn't bother with it. And I just let it completely deteriorate, did not re-sign any of the women talent. And looking back, perhaps there were a few that I should have tried to keep from that crop. But right now we have probably the most talented women's roster. With exception of AJW. And I think JCP used to be where we are, and now I think we have surpassed them. But regardless, it's a division that I'm just trying to let develop naturally. But, they have to get some matches either on the pre-show or the main show to really elevate it to where we need it to be. So, moving forward, Magnum is in a match here. He's another guy who, hasn't been in the mix super recently, but he will definitely, at least I think, will definitely be in the some title picture soon. Just have to find a good time. There's just been a lot of the young crop have been moving up the card around the time that Magnum was coming in, and I feel like that kind of got him lost in the shuffle slightly. But once I recalibrate, I think I'll be able to easily find some utility for him. And this is obviously a tremendous example of what he is capable of. Wasn't the best dance partner for him. Irregardless, he gets an 83 with not a lot of time either. So definitely something promising. He and Magnum, or Misawa rather. Magnum and Misawa are two guys who I just want to see kind of just creep up to like mid 80s overall. So, I've just been trying to get them steady wins and, preferential placement to just creep their popularity up to where they are just a very solid, steady hand. Tito Santana has basically been that guy for me for over a year now, and I kind of want Magnum and Misawa to be in that zone too. And I think it takes some time to fully develop that. But now we are on the main card, and starting it off is Roddy Piper, who is scouring the backstage locker room, or just the locker room, and he's looking for a tag partner. He had attacked Randy Savage on the Supercard, the September Supercard. He had basically been rivals with Hogan and Savage for a very long time. Hogan has become a number one contender, but in the meantime, he has decided to tag with Savage. He said, Piper, just because I have a title shot doesn't mean I still don't want a piece of you. So you are on for a tag match. And Piper, who's basically been a lone wolf since he turned heel, really, now is basically he needs to find someone to have his back tonight. Otherwise, Hogan and Savage are likely going to absolutely destroy him. But first, we have a tremendous opener here. Vader versus Warrior. Two guys who are kind of in that new crop that I was talking about earlier when talking about Magnum. Vader has been very, very reliable. Even here on, him being off his game still helps elevate Warrior to a higher match rating. Honestly, I thought it was a good match to kind of break from, some of the stories and or rivalries that these two were on. It was a good way to get Vader over, as he had been, losing a few matches in which I kind of pushed him up the card. So kind of the reasoning, the long story, so to speak, is, I wanted to test Vader in a few ways, see how he would do in the title matches, and I think he passed with flying colors. However, it would have been a huge win for him, but it would have also been a huge leap of faith. And also, I don't know if the time was right. Perhaps when he went up against Jake, it might have been. But also, I think Adonis had been in a very similar spot to Vader. In fact, I think he was probably more polished than Vader. He was able to do the same stuff in ring, although he has not had a 100 match. But to be fair, at that point, neither had Vader. But Adonis had just been solid in the ring and just killer with promos. Vader, on the other hand, he is developing into a very good in-ring performer, and also his menace allows him to be used to build up feuds in that manner. So he's definitely a very viable option for a champion, whether it be IC or maybe in the future a world champion. And here I figured I could kill two stones with one bird, so to speak, by getting Vader a win over Warrior, and having Warrior in a match that would probably help bump him up ever so slightly, just by being in a higher rated match. I know where I want to go with Warrior moving forward, and I think this will just be a beneficial little side plot for the both of these two men. Next, we have what a match. Oh man, this was definitely one that I was hoping would go above and beyond my expectations, and I've got to say I am not disappointed. We have a great wrestling match, decent reaction. It was kind of a short build, and these two have only, I believe, had one match, and it was probably on the King of the Ring tournament. Went for a technical masterclass, and what do you know, Misawa and Bret Hart absolutely killed it. And to get an 88 on semi-short time in the second match from the bottom, you can't ask for more. This is definitely one of those rivalries that I think will be. This is basically Bret Shawn until Shawn gets his head on right. So he's on the roster. Not to spoil, but he is on the roster, and he's already had 2 drug incidents, and this is his second send to rehab. At this point, I am fully committed to making him a full-time member of the roster. I think he has a 6-year contract, and it's just something that I have to go through. He might be out the whole year. If that's the case, so be it. As long as I can eventually get him for a sustained run, then it will be worth it. But until then, we got options, okay? And Misawa is chief among them, and Bret is absolutely killing it. Both of these guys' journeys have been awesome, and I think this is the feud, honestly. I think. Shawn might be tremendous with both of these guys, but this is definitely promising. We're going to have Misawa, Bret, Vader, and Sting as our next crop of guys, and I've got to be honest with you all, I am very, very confident moving forward in this young roster. Here we have Harley and Curt Hennig cutting a promo. They got a big win on the September Supercard, and now they are inserted into the Fabulous Freebird and Road Warrior match. There was some controversy following the tag title match on that aforementioned September Supercard, and now the Road Warriors will be getting another title shot, but with the $1 Million Inc. tag constituents, Harley Race and Mr. Perfect, on this run. And I believe that is the match up next, and it is, and holy heck. Who would think, okay? And sorry to, pop like that, but who would think that Animal, like the Road Warriors as a team, would be the ones who just slightly tug this match downwards? Perhaps it's because they have been losing in tag title matches, in semi-quick succession. But they won this one by DQ, granted, as Demolition Smash ran in. So, whatever. The Road Warriors are usually money. But it has been a while since they have been the hot team, so to speak. The way that I generally run the tag division, I really like dominant champs. either that or it's like a long streak of luck, so to speak. I like having longer sustained tag runs rather than 2-week reigns. I like stability in the tag division, as with basically every division. I think it adds to the prestige of the belt, not only in game, but just in real life in general. So the Freebirds, clearly they've been getting the mega push, so to speak, and it shows. Terry Gordy is the best tag wrestler to have graced the WWF ring, and I hope this little run makes him second guess freelancing. However, I don't think it will, because he's kind of on that Bruiser Brody type run where it's like, let me just bounce from territory to territory, making as much money as I can along the way. And this is certainly going to help his stock, without a doubt. Not only is he killing it, but he is gaining a lot of popularity in the U.S. from being the top tag almost immediately. So did I, shoot myself in the foot? Who knows? But it's great business for the Fed, in my opinion. Harley and Perfect, that's a solid tag team rating. They have probably shown that they deserve some thinking, and I've definitely been thinking between the September Supercard and this Saturday night main event. It's definitely crossed my mind as to what I should consider doing with them in this division. They could definitely work both as singles or as a tag. The tag division is pretty stacked. Definitely more so with heels. So it's not like we need them, but they're very, very solid. So we're going to have to see how they get involved moving forward. Obviously, the Road Warriors, they need to, step their game up. I've seen better from them. I expect better. But alas, we trudge onward, mis amigos. And on to Tito Santana, slapping on the Figgy 4 on Rick Rude. That is slang for figure 4. Trademark pending. And Rude is pretty good performance by him. Right in line with what we saw from Brett and Misawa earlier. Tito, as I mentioned, he is just he's an ace in that, or he's a rock, more or less, is what I should say. Because he's steady. You always know what you're going to get from him. It's a rock. SpongeBob? Okay. But anyways, yeah. Tito, you're always going to get a very solid performance. You're never going to be disappointed. If anything, he might go above what you might have expected initially. Rude, I've seen 70s from him, and it seems like he's finally turned the corner. Hopefully, knock on wood. I don't want to jinx it at all, but he seems to be steadily making improvements. He's getting some wins, not a win here, however. It might have been the right time, but this was a number one contendership for the IC title match in my head. They will get a title shot in the future. It was announced on television, and they both had won on the September Supercard, which is what led to them being involved in this match. So Tito will be getting a title shot at some point in the future. Rick Rude, he's getting close, but there is a long, long line for titles. That is the blessing and the curse of only having two major singles titles and one tag title to win. Here we have Jake talking about that IC title mentioned earlier. It's what everyone's going after. Jake is perhaps one of the top contenders, a former IC champion. He had lost that title at SummerSlam to Adonis, and now he is looking to regain it here tonight. September Supercard, he cut a promo that was in the 80s, and I told you guys he's got a lower bottom than some of the other guys when they cut promos, meaning he can drop as low as an 80 for the promo, but his ceiling is high as well. And case and point. If you doubted the TMZ, well, check yourself before you wreck yourself, because Snakey got wrecked here tonight because he doesn't get the title. Adonis loses, but he takes home the gold. Much like he walked in to SummerSlam with the title and won it to keep it, despite the fact that he wasn't the title walking in. It was the crux of their feud at SummerSlam, and now, juxtaposition, or maybe it's ironic, maybe all of the above, might be using the wrong word, might be not, but here's the fact. Adonis is a sneaky little snake. He knows how to retain. He lost at the September Supercard by DQ. He will retain by hook or by crook. He knows, now he's like Gollum. He got a taste of the gold. He's not going to give it up that easy. He knew he was outmatched, and he is doing what it takes to retain that belt. So now we've got ourselves a pretty neat situation where Tito is in line. Jake still has an argument to be made as to why he deserves it. I mean, the rematch clause, and then he wins, but, Adonis is up to some dirty tricks again. Definitely just trying to get some heat on Adonis here. Him and Jake are both really hot here. And I know I've said this before. Sometimes when the ratings are that close, it kind of gets like an added bonus on top. Perhaps it's just some of the stuff in the dirt sheet. There might be like an added bonus, like a hidden bonus. Not sure. Regardless, great IC title bout. Adonis will retain. Stay tuned to see how we resolve this IC title picture moving forward. Here we have DiBiase finding out that his opponent will be Sting. On TV, DiBiase had pleaded, probably bribed his way into getting a number one contendership match. He didn't know who the opponent was, and now he finds out it's the man they call Sting. He's certainly not happy because he knows this youngster is bold. He's definitely on the way up, and he is tough, to say the least. As per the segment, well, it's kind of rough that they both struggled because, Sting doesn't have as high a ceiling as DiBiase does, but he can get high 80s semi-consistently. DiBiase also, on TV it's different because Heenan is usually involved. He is the manager of the $1 Million Express, but he's an announcer for pay-per-views, so he doesn't get used on pay-per-views besides as the announcer. So perhaps that also helps DiBiase's promos, but on TV, he is a very steady storytelling tool. Try saying that 5 times fast. Here, I wanted a good segment, but I won't beat it up too much. And bam! Thank you, ma'am. Ted DiBiase wins with the $1 Million Dream over Sting, and we have another great match on this card. Sting 85, again, that class, that crop of talent, all doing pretty good, no doubt about it. DiBiase gets the big victory. I felt like it needed to be done, and basically what I'm trying to tell, the overarching story here is to put absolutely overwhelming odds against Savage, to where there is a wealth of challengers for him. He's only gone through a few up to this point. Off the top of my head, Adonis is one. I think he's faced him twice, perhaps, for the title. Piper in the triple threat with Steamboat, Vader, and besides that, DiBiase was the man he took it off of. I can't think of any other challenger for the belt. So we got a lot of names that we can still yet to really throw at Savage during his title reign. So not only do I want to have a wealth of options to pick and choose from and rotate if I choose to keep his title reign moving forward, but I also want there to be kind of like a looming thundercloud that follows Savage, to where it's like at any moment it might rain on him, or he might get struck by lightning, is a better analogy. And I mean, it's more of an inevitability, really, because all title reigns come to an end one way or another, and at this point it's just who is going to be the one who finally knocks him off the top. Tonight, however, we are not going to find out because it is not a title match. But keep in mind, DiBiase will be receiving a title match at some point in the future. Great bout by Sting. Great way to elevate him despite losing. DiBiase is a former WWF champion, one of the great WWF champions that I booked, and Sting is really starting to get his name in the conversation with the top guys. I think Vader is better established as a main event threat, whereas Sting is still trying to get established, so to speak. But Vader had that big King of the Ring victory this year to be crowned the 88 King. Sting still needs a big win. I have ideas for the future, and I think it'll definitely establish him one way or another. Now, on to the promo. The MegaPowers go off here prior to their match versus Piper and the mystery opponent. Again, Piper, obviously, he's had some interaction with Savage during Savage's title reign between now and WrestleMania 4. He's also had a more recent interaction with Hogan. Hogan had defeated, I believe it was DiBiase actually, at the September Supercard just a couple of weeks ago to gain a title shot. And following the bout, Piper tried to attack him and injure him. Previous to that, Piper had attacked Steamboat and injured him. So he's kind of on a reign of terror, so to speak. He had attacked Savage as well on TVs, or perhaps it was following a title bout. My timeline's getting kind of mixed up. Regardless, he attacked Steamboat, Hulk, and Savage. Just kind of, it's become a part of his character where you always got to have eyes in the back of your head. Otherwise, you are liable to get attacked with, some type of weaponry by Piper. Well, the eyes on the back of Savage's head happen to be Hogan's because their bonds run deep. And these colors, wait for it, don't run. The MegaPowers are ready and Piper's not. And wow, did this just absolutely not pay off, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? Full disclosure, this was a last-second pivot. My original intention was to have Piper and Ventura tag together, and it might have honestly done better than this. This was very bad. This might tank the pay-per-view rating. I don't think it'll be too bad. I think it might only be high 80s. Nonetheless, their absolute lack of chemistry is what definitely just destroyed this match. Obviously, the MegaPowers are just on another level when it comes to, tagging. Thankfully, they had such high ratings, because otherwise this might have been a complete debacle. This is what can happen when, a plan has to get flipped at the very last second. I really, I was very confident in nearly every other match on the card except for this. I didn't expect this to be frank. And looking back, I am kind of wishing that I would have subbed Steve Williams for Vader, and then I could have even just moved Steve Williams to Vader's spot. It was a 2-week build, so it could have easily just pushed. So I'm definitely kicking myself in the rear end for that. Nonetheless, you live and you learn. This is what can happen when you have to change plans. Definitely weigh your options, because, like I said, Vader crossed my mind. I thought, man, I could put him there. But I didn't think it would make enough sense to justify it. But in all reality, their performance would kind of be expected to be bad, considering it's kind of like when Steve Austin wanted to go for the tag titles and he wanted to go it alone. And he wanted Harvey Whippleman to be his tag partner. He ended up tagging with HBK, and yeah, they were good. This is the worst version of that. So here they pose. Hopefully that doesn't tank it. That was the longest match, the longest segment on the pay-per-view, so it's definitely going to impact the rating. But let's see. It was a very solid card up until that main event. 88, all things considered, I will take it. Man, definitely, probably am going to have to play it a lot safer moving forward. This is a great example of, don't get cocky, because especially in tag bouts, you can really botch a match if you are not careful. Throwing Piper and Williams together last second with no indication that they would be able to pull it off. Definitely an amateur move on my part. I mean, what is this, amateur hour? Alright, well, it is what it is, folks. Thank you for stopping by. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment. I always like, if there's someone you want me to bring in. I do have to say there are definitely a lot of guys who I just can't. Loyalty is a huge thing in this database. So a lot of people, especially in the Japanese feds like NJPW and AJPW, almost all the big names are loyal. I did bring in 2 big names. I'm holding off on both. One for, I want surprise for sure. And I also want them to be completely ready. So be on the lookout for that. Exciting stuff. Again, the main event wasn't what I had hoped. But, it adds a little bit of drama to it. So hopefully you found that entertaining. Again, thanks for stopping by. Like and subscribe if you liked the video, and I will catch you on the flippity floop.